If you've watched my channel for any period of time, you know that I'm a big fan of Teslong Borescopes. I've been using them since they first hit the market. And, you know, to be honest, I've had a pretty good relationship with them, and I've been pretty fortunate that they have sent me a few models over time to test and play with. And I was in a position where I was really kind of stuck with my Borescope because I've been using this one here, which is the Wi-Fi version, and I love it. I take it to matches, I can fly with it, I can do all kinds of stuff because it's small, it's compact, but I'll be honest, it's not my favorite for around the shop because I have to uncoil everything, I have to hook it up to my phone, Wi-Fi connect to my phone, and being that I clean my gun 3, 4, 5 times a week, this thing's in and out a lot. I've started just leaving it hanging in the shop here. But it's still a matter of, grabbing the phone and then connecting and waiting for it to connect. And then, I get it. It's very first world problems. But for as much as I use a Borescope, I really wanted to get to a, like a dedicated monitor version because I just frankly use it a lot. So I reached out to them and said, hey, you guys got anything new that you want me to play with or test out that has, one, a rigid Borescope, and two, a built-in monitor? And sure enough, they had this one, and this is the, what are they calling it here? This is the NTG450, and it comes in a, like a lot of their stuff, it comes in a little magnetic flat box, and it does have obviously the actual Borescope, the connector cable to the monitor, and then it also comes with an additional cable which can be swapped out on the head here. So you can unscrew right here and then just connect this one. So if you want to hook up to a computer or something, it does have a USB, and then it also has a little pull-out thing so you can do micro USB. So it does give you a bunch of different options. And I have reviewed the rigid one that is cable connected maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. And it worked great, but again, you had to have a computer or a high-power tablet to work. It wouldn't work with most tablets and stuff. Anyway, so having the built-in monitor was great. So here's what you get. There is this cable, and it is going to have a little keyed connection right here so that when you pop it in, you can hear this little click. There's a push button on the back so that you push on it and it comes out. But for me, it's the convenience. And yes, I know this one is more expensive. It averages like $140, $150. I've seen it as low as $130 on sale. And obviously I'll put a link down below if anybody's interested in looking at it. But the ability to just literally just turn it on and turn it off is huge for me. I can now leave this in the shop. Having the rigid is just a lot easier to feed in. So for my applications, this is fantastic. Now I'm still keeping the portable version for when I go to matches and stuff like that because there's just times where you need to have it. Also included is obviously a charging cable, which is just really nice that they give it to you, mainly because it's a USB-C. Now, if you're like me, you've got a million micro USB cables sitting around. I do not have as many USB-Cs, although more stuff is starting to become USB-C compliant. So having an extra USB-C cable is nice for me. And then you get a couple extra mirrors in here if you need them, and you can play around with those a little bit. There's obviously instructions. But let's get to the actual unit. So I'm going to show you what the screen looks like on an actual screen record here in a second, and I'm doing my best to keep the glare out of it, but it is tough, to be honest. There are just a few different options. There's a little camera, which means you can either take a picture or start a video if you need to. There is a lighting one, which I'll show you, but it lets you change the light parameters. There's 3 different settings and then off on the light. There is an M for mode, which switches you. There's a little thing up here, which is going to go from camera to video camera to a little like play button. So these are videos that I've recorded. And then you've got a settings, which lets you, within whatever you're looking at, you can change settings. There's different things like date stamps and recording resolutions. You can change language, time, format the disc, stuff like that. All right. And so that's the basic functions. You've got an up and down that lets you scroll again through different videos that you've taken and stuff like that. Underneath here, and I have trouble opening little stuff like this, but under here you've got a flap which is where you can charge the USB-C, and then it also comes with a small micro, I'll pop it out here for you, but it does come with this, which is pretty nice. So it does come with the little 32 gigabyte, which is a ton of storage for being a free card, in my opinion. So I think that's a nice added benefit. So that just clicks right in there. But again, that comes with it. And it's got a little kickstand that screws on, which you can see I've done this in the back right here. And then if you need to, there is a reset button as well. I guess I can pull this off. I don't know why I left that on. Anyway. So let's see what this looks like inside a barrel. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got just this is a barrel that's been chambered. I kind of cleaned it out and ran a couple patches of oil through it. So you're going to see a little bit of stuff in there, but nothing really major. I've got my off-barrel cleaning bore guide just to help me keep from banging anything inside here. So it's just going to sit like that. And what I'll do is make sure you can see. One other thing to note on this unit is there are graduations along here that show you how deep you are. So it goes to 26 inches. So on a barrel like mine where it's 32 inches, obviously I'm not going to get to the very end. But it does have this little rubber slider so that if you are looking and you find something, some kind of inclusion or mark or scrape or scratch or whatever it is, carbon, and you want to go back and look at it after you have cleaned it, you could obviously make a little mental note of, okay, it was 18 inches in, or you can set this little rubber stopper, and then you know that exactly that far in is where you need to be. So I do like that. It does have flat sides on it, so it's easier to hold and turn and twist around. You can make a full rotation with this pretty easily, even though you're going to twist the cable just a little bit. It does make a full rotation pretty easily. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go on here, and we are going to make sure that we are in video mode, which you can see right there. And then I'm going to hit this, and now it has a red timer that is going. It also records audio. So I am recording audio right now, both on here and on here. I will obviously push one of those out so you're not listening to me talk twice. But in the instance that you don't obviously have a video camera recording, you can make notes of a barrel while you're looking at it. Okay, there's something at 26 inches, or there's something at 4 inches, or whatever it is. So let's go ahead, and you're obviously watching right now on the screen what I am looking at. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and push it in, and I am looking at it off screen so I don't take up too much of your space here. But so let's see, right about there. So that's where you would normally see a carbon ring forming on the left side there. You can start to see the lands and grooves. And what I'm going to do, you can see it's just a little bit out of focus, and I'm going to show you how to fix that here in a second. But I'm going to do the lighting first. So watch the lighting. So I can drop it, turn it off, and then go back to the brightest setting here. Okay. And then if you need to focus it, you're just going to take and you're going to make little adjustments on this little set washer that's here, little set screw, and then tighten down the mirror. And you'll find that there is kind of a range. You can see that's already better right there. You can see there's a little bit of cleaning cloth in there. And that's just penetrating oil that I've run 2 or 3 patches in. Once I put this barrel on, I would actually give it another cleaning, but otherwise it's good. All right, and I'm going to make just another little adjustment here and see, just to show you how it changes the focal inside. So then now see it. Okay. And then if I push on the arrow here, you can see how it just changed. It just changed the viewing, so it kind of zooms it in a little bit. Okay. So you might want to be on something where you're zoomed in a little bit more, so you just hit that button. And this just, again, lets you run it in. So it's just a good example of what you can see with this thing. And it's obviously a little easier when you're not on camera trying to make this work. But there we go. So nice and crystal clear. And you can change out the mirrors. There are very slight differences to some of the mirrors. and you can see which one fits your needs the best. So anyway, for me, this thing is indispensable. I have been using Borescopes for years now. Admittedly, I had a much more expensive one that was optical, and like whether you like it or not, this just happens to be a much better value. And for my purposes, I'm not having to squint through a little eyepiece. This is, it's just such an instant reaction to be able to look at things with this. And honestly, like all my Borescopes, I've used it for other things too. I've had situations where I've had, like this is an inline die that I've got. Maybe I think it's scratched up or there's a problem with it. I can look inside the die and, see if there's any problems. Maybe I think there's, like this die's been sitting around for a while. And, like I might look at it and say, well, maybe I want to just run a quick polish in it. Honestly, this die looks fine, so I'm not worried about it. But, you might look at things and be able to diagnose problems. I've done it before, and I've even used it under my fridge and in the walls and stuff. So anyway, there's all kinds of things you can use Borescopes for, but admittedly the best thing is for a bore. So that is my latest Teslong. You will see me using it in videos all the time. At this point, if you've watched any of my cleaning videos, you've seen me use my other Teslong. I just think, like, I'll be honest, yes, it's great that they send me one. I would totally pay for one if I had to, because I just think that they are really, really great. So take that for what it is. I know not everybody loves watching my reviews, but I try to be as honest as I can with them. And if it's not something that I'm going to use, and if it's not something that I think is appropriate for my kind of shooting, I'm not going to just do it. So anyway, that is the end of our video here. I appreciate you guys watching as always. You have a good one. We'll talk later.